Taking your first flight is so exciting, but can also be quite intimidating. So far, you must have seen some of my videos where I'm preparing you to take your first flight by either guiding you through a step-by-step process, unpacking your bags, or navigating you through your first time through the airport. In this video, I will be answering some frequently asked questions on what happens after you have boarded your flight, the flight etiquettes that you are expected to follow once the boarding has been completed. So what to do once your boarding zone has been called? Follow these simple steps. First of all, take your passport and the boarding pass and line up at the boarding gate. The gate agents will verify your details and let you through. Now, if you're traveling to a smaller airport, sometimes you have to take a small bus that takes you to your airplane, where the gate agents or the flight attendant will tell you whether to board your aircraft through the front doors or the back doors. It all depends on your seat number. If you're traveling to a bigger airport, you will have to simply take the ramp that leads to your aircraft. There you will meet your flight attendant who will check your boarding pass just to verify your seat number and guide you to your seat. Okay, so the second question is what to do once you have found your seat. The obvious answer is to sit down. Maybe place your larger carry-on on the top and the smaller carry-on under the seat. Fasten your seat belt. Do not change your seat without consulting with a flight attendant. Now, if your flight also has an in-flight entertainment, maybe get that set up and just make yourself comfortable. Question number 3 is what to expect just before the takeoff. Now, just before the takeoff, the captain will introduce themselves and the team. They might briefly talk about what to expect during the journey. They might shed some light on when to expect the turbulence, the weather at the destination, or simple things like air traffic congestion, if there is any. After that, the flight attendants will do a safety demo. Now, if you're flying through one of those fancy planes that have entertainment screens for every single seat, the safety demo is usually shown through those screens. Regardless, pay attention to that important piece of information, especially if you are seated in the exit row. After that, the flight attendants will probably instruct you to put your phones in airplane mode. And then they will come and check to make sure that your seatbelt is fastened, your seat is upright, the window screens are open, and the cabinets are closed, just to make sure everybody's ready for the takeoff. Question number 4. Is it normal to feel uneasy right after the takeoff? The short answer is yes, especially if you're new to flying. As the flight takes off, there is change in speed, direction, elevation, pressure that can sometimes cause the feeling of free fall, and that is what causes uneasiness. A pro tip: chew gum. That really helps. As the flight also takes off, you'll also hear some other noises like engine roar, tire retracting, or even simple as seat belt signs coming on. You'll get used to them as you get used to flying more often. Question number 5. When is the food and refreshment served in the flight? The food and refreshment is served when it is safe to do so, when the seatbelt signs are turned off. It is common for the aircraft to experience turbulence, and if that happens, food and refreshment is paused. Flights shorter in duration may require to buy your meals, whereas flight longer in duration, say for more than 4 hours, might provide you free refreshment during the flight. Also, something to keep in mind is that pre-booked meals are often served before the flight attendants serve everybody else. There are usually 2 options for the meals. One is vegetarian, the other one is non-vegetarian. Flight attendant will serve the meals on one cart, whereas the drinks will be offered from another cart. at the end of the meal sessions, say for example after 20 minutes from the time the meals were served, the flight attendants will come around with a garbage bag to collect your garbage, or sometimes they come around with a garbage cart to collect your garbage. Question number 6. What are some in-flight etiquettes one should know of? Firstly, do not smoke in the plane, because if you do, it will trigger the smoke alarm. Secondly, remember to keep your shoes on all the time, even when you're walking down the aisle. Remember, your feet belong on the floor, not on anyone's headrest. Keep your seatbelt fastened at all times. Keep your seat upright during snack and meal times to be courteous to your fellow passengers. If you need assistance, please place a call using the call button. Each seat usually has one, either on the top or on the screen, so make use of it. Finally, try to use the washroom just before the meal. Now, most of the washrooms in the flight contain fold-in doors, which means you have to push them to have them opened. If you have a question, always ask a flight attendant. You are allowed to recline your seat. It is a reclinable seat for a reason. Please do not let anyone tell you otherwise. The only time your seat needs to be upright is during meal or snack time and during takeoff and landing. Turbulence can occur unannounced, so it is important to have your seatbelt fastened. In case of severe turbulence, people without seatbelts are more likely to get severely hurt. Question number 7. What is to be expected just before landing? Just before landing, the seatbelt signs will come on. You will be asked to keep your seat upright and open the window screens. You will hear various noises like the tires coming out, seatbelt signs coming on, and so on. It is quite normal to feel uneasy during landing as there is change in speed, direction, and elevation of the plane. Refrain from using washroom during this time and have your seat belts fastened. Question number 8. What to expect during landing? It is common for the plane to sway a little bit depending on how strong the winds are. Now, depending on that, your landing can be smooth or a little jolty. If you feel anxious, hold on tight to your handrest. Question number 9. What to do right after landing? Stay seated. Do not unbuckle your seatbelt until the plane has come to a full stop. This same announcement will also be made by the flight attendants. We use this time to connect your electronic devices to the new network. Once the plane has come to a full stop, collect your belongings, your personal items, and the carry-on. Most importantly, wait for your turn. Let the person in front of you leave the aircraft first. If you did sign up for wheelchair assistance, let everybody else disembark from the aircraft, and it is then the service people will come find you. Question 10. Where can you find more information for your first time at the airport? Check out my other videos on airport travel. I have at least 10 videos on this channel that will serve as a guide for planning your first time at the airport. Happy travels!